Hello everyone and welcome to round 17 of the 2025 Super Formula One World Championship, the Kyoto Grand Prix. We return to Japan today for the third running of this race here at Kyoto Driving Park on the Yamagiwa layout, which is around a 3-mile, 15-turn track with lots of high-speed sweeping corners. Max Verstappen won this race's first running in 2023. Lando Norris took the win a year ago. Let's get set today and take a look at the starting grid.
Starting on the back row, Nico Hülkenberg starts 20th next to Alexander Albon in 19th, Pierre Gasly starts 18th alongside Esteban Ocon in 17th, and then user driver Gabriel Bortoleto starts 16th next to Franco Colapinto in 15th, Lance Stroll starts P14 alongside Oliver Bearman in P13, behind Charles Leclerc in 12th and Isaac Hadjar in 11th, into the points. Oscar Piastri starts a season-low 10th alongside Fernando Alonso in 9th, then Lando Norris in 8th alongside Lewis Hamilton P7. George Russell starts P6 alongside teammate Kimi Antonelli in 5th. Liam Lawson takes a career-best 4th alongside Max Verstappen in 3rd, and Carlos Sainz returns to the front row, with Yuki Tsunoda taking his first career pole position.
And we are underway from round 17 from Kyoto Driving Park. Out front, Yuki Tsunoda has gotten a good start and leads through turn 1 from Sainz, from Verstappen, from Lawson. The two Mercedes going side by side, as well as Hamilton and Norris behind. Russell and Antonelli going wheel to wheel through the S's in sector 1 as Hamilton stays ahead of Norris. Antonelli stays ahead of Russell as well. Back out to the front, it's Yuki Tsunoda leading from his first ever pole position start as they come round turn 6. Russell's drifted towards the outside and Hamilton goes to the inside. Norris making a move right behind. That's 2 places lost for Russell, but now downhill to the 8 and 9 chicane. Sainz moving to the inside of Tsunoda, immediately going for the lead, and he aggressively attacks the curbs, but he will keep the car on track and now snatches the lead of this race. Carlos Sainz returning to the front of the grid again and quickly reminds us of his skill with that move on Tsunoda. He's now pushed Williams into the lead of the race early on lap 1. This run down towards the chicane is one of the premier overtaking locations on this track, and we're seeing that again with Tsunoda going back for the lead on Sainz as they head into turn 8, and Yuki Tsunoda retakes the lead of this race, gets it right back on lap 2 in the same place he lost it lap 1. Sainz putting the pressure right back on Tsunoda on the way down the hill again. He's got the inside line, and Tsunoda looks to have fought that one a bit more at the apex, but Sainz is through and retakes the lead of this race. 3 laps down and 3 lead changes so far. Verstappen is bound to come through at some point, so the question becomes whether or not Tsunoda defends from it or lets him by. Hamilton keeping close as well, and just as I say that, he slows coming through turn 14, and that's contact between him and Lawson. Lawson, who's had his best starting position of P4, and Hamilton, who started 7th in his running P4, are both having to enter the pits here at the end of 4. That is unfortunate for each of them. Tsunoda chasing Sainz down the hill. He's going to attempt to take his lead back, and now he gets his elbows out on the attack, and that's another lead change here, only 6 laps into this race. The pole sitter back out front. Sainz already close around turn 6, but wants Verstappen because he's already positioning himself differently, trying to set up a move of his own. The top 3 separated by almost nothing coming down the hill. Verstappen backing off a touch. Sainz goes to the inside of Tsunoda. They go wheel to wheel. Sainz gets ahead, and now Tsunoda's on the back foot. Verstappen's got a better run, and he just waited patiently for a test to strike, and he gets ahead of his teammate. Tsunoda goes from 1st to 3rd in 2 corners. Verstappen now the lead Red Bull, and Sainz leads. Turn 6 is flat out, so it's hard to pass there unless you're Oscar Piastri around the outside of Fernando Alonso. Oh, he nearly got around him. You never see moves around that corner, and that is why, as Alonso stays ahead and now charges out Russell for 5th. Into 8 and 9 they go, and Alonso gets by from the hunted to the hunter in that sequence there for Fernando Alonso. Verstappen just taking advantage of the tow you get around this track. Full throttle from the exit of turn 1 all the way to turn 8. That's almost all the first and the second sector flat out, and that sets you up coming down the hill for turn 8, where Verstappen's got the inside line on Sainz, and then Williams barely fought it, just lets Verstappen go straight through. We wondered how long it would take. On lap 9, Max Verstappen leads the Kyoto Grand Prix. These two have yet to pit, and Antonelli pit first of anyone on lap 7 for new tires. He's going alongside at turn 3, which you never see around the outside, which is now the inside for 14, and a slight wheel bang between Colapinto and Antonelli. These two are not in a direct battle with each other, but Antonelli is trying to go for a serious undercut with how early he pitted, so this will certainly slow him down. And you can see that as they come around the final corner. Alonso goes in, Ocon and Colapinto go in, and that will release Antonelli, who could beat Tsunoda out here. He comes across the line and he does beat Tsunoda out. That could be a net third place when those ahead make their stops. Verstappen comes in at the end of 10, and Norris comes along next. He'll get priority at McLaren and stop now. Piastri will continue for another lap, but we want to watch Sainz here. He went in lap 9, going for an undercut to retake the lead, and coming across the line, he does. There's Verstappen on his way out, and he'll get beat out by Antonelli as well. Williams and Mercedes both going for aggressive undercuts. They jump both Red Bulls, and now Norris is on his way back out. He rejoins in 6th, but Verstappen losing places in the pits, running 4th, which is currently a net 3rd. Russell comes across the line with Norris right on his gearbox. Moves are possible at turn 1, but Norris looks like he'll wait. Oh, but he may not wait long. Russell drifts out wide. He locks up. Russell locked up, and Norris ran into him midway through the corner. That could spell damage for both Brits, and another unnecessary pit stop. Emerging over the crest, and Verstappen is right there on the back of the Williams. He has chased Carlos Sainz right back down and closed that gap. Antonelli pitted for tires again. He's on an offset strategy, but our eyes are focused solely on this battle up front because we could see another lead change down into 8 and 9. Verstappen moves to the inside, and once again, Sainz does not put up much of a defense, and Max Verstappen retakes the lead of the race. Alonso on the defense into the turn 12 hairpin, the slowest corner on track, and he goes a bit too wide, leaves the door open for Piastri, and Piastri takes advantage. You never see many passes at that hairpin, but Piastri going for it anywhere today, and he gets back ahead of Alonso and into 5th place. Verstappen rounding the final corner, and Red Bull will bring him into the pits, leaving Antonelli to take the lead of the race, but he's pitted very frequently, so let's see how long that lasts. The next man across will be Oscar Piastri, and McLaren will bring him in now as well. Behind him is Carlos Sainz, who is once again the main focus with Verstappen in the pit lane. He's coming across the start-finish line now. Verstappen's not out yet. There he is, just exiting the pit lane, but he's behind Sainz again, and behind Russell, who will still need to make his stop soon, but Williams is acing their pit calls in this race so far. Antonelli's tires are beginning to drop off again, and that's bringing Sainz closer. Now I'll have an opportunity into the 8 and 9 chicane, and he goes ahead and gets back into P1. Carlos Sainz is managing this race very well to this point. He's a real contender for a race win today, it must be said. Piastri is gaining and gaining on Tsunoda here. The Red Bull is vulnerable into the chicane as Piastri goes down the inside, just sneaks ahead and up into 4th. Piastri finding some pace deep into this Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso's tires are on their last leg. He's just holding up the 2 Mercedes at this point, just being a headache for the drivers behind. They've been stuck behind for quite some time, and Alonso's just been conducting the short train here. He's drifting wide around turn 6. Look at him still squeezing Russell. Russell gets through coming out of the corner. Antonelli is next, and he'll pull alongside. He may be ahead before they get to turn 8, and he is coming down the hill. Fernando Alonso just being difficult as per usual. Ocon's got Norris on his back. This has turned into another recovery drive for Norris, as it has been in most races recently. Running low in the points, he got back onto the podium last time out. This time he's just past Esteban Ocon's Haas for 8th place. Bortoleto arrived to the rear of this train forming. He hasn't had the easiest race today either, but he's fought it and fighting Fernando Alonso to try and enter the points for the first time today. Trying the outside of the final corner, Alonso won't give it to him easily. They'll be in a drag race down the pit straight, and Fernando Alonso looks to be marginally ahead, but Bortoleto will have the inside line for turn 1, has to avoid drifting out wide mid-corner. He's still behind Alonso, but now in the second phase, he gets ahead. Just on the exit, Gabriel Bortoleto enters the points positions. Norris will have to pit and drop back down the order. That promotes Ocon and Bortoleto to 8th and 9th and Alonso to 10th, so Norris will have work to do when he rejoins this race. Another unfortunate day for him. But Ocon drifting out wide in turn 1, Bortoleto sees an opening and takes advantage and moves his Sauber up into 8th now. Liam Lawson is next up the road and he is on old soft tires. That explains the rate at which Bortoleto is gaining on him through the first sector. Look at him going side by side, coming out of the S's, right up against the wall, headed into turn 6. Bortoleto going defensive. Lawson fights it, but Bortoleto is ahead and now up into 7th. Russell and Antonelli coming across the line. Russell's got the older tires though, and I think Mercedes would prefer Antonelli ahead at this point. And I think that may be what happens here. Russell drifting out of touch and Antonelli goes by, so Mercedes swapping places. Not sure if that was scheduled or not, but it works out for them. Sainz rounding the final corner now, trying to complete the mission and beat Verstappen out the pit lane for the 3rd time today. Verstappen extended his stint 2 laps, and that gets him out in front. Sainz is racing down the straight, trying to go around the outside of turn 1, but Verstappen has just enough. Wow, so this has changed the whole scope of things. The undercut was almost guaranteed. It's worked all race long for Williams and Sainz, and on the final round of pit stops, it does not work. Red Bull have responded, and Max Verstappen comes out back ahead of Sainz with just under 5 laps to go. Sainz is trying to stay attached to the back of the Red Bull. His tires are already up to temperature. And remember, this section is all flat from the exit of turn 1 all the way to turn 8, so Sainz will stay tucked underneath. This will be his chance at turn 8 on the descent down the hill. He's not moved to the inside. He doesn't make an attempt. Verstappen stays in front. Mercedes will have to pit Antonelli from the lead. That releases Verstappen with no cars ahead on track. Clean air, and he's already trying to build up a gap as Piastri will move up into 3rd place with Antonelli in the pits. Remember, he started 10th. Tsunoda will beat out Antonelli as well. P4 for the pole sitter, and Antonelli comes out now in 5th. Just as that happens, Russell enters the pit box for the final time. He'd be lucky to remain in the points. As Bortoleto comes across the line in 8th place, he's on pace for his first career points. Russell comes out with Norris coming in hot, 9th and 10th. Sainz under immense pressure from Oscar Piastri. He's been nowhere all race but enters the podium places, and all of a sudden he's challenging for 2nd place. Sainz leads him down the hill. Piastri drives alongside, brakes later, and he gets ahead on the final lap. Oscar Piastri up into 2nd place. Sainz could do nothing to stop it and drops a spot with only a few corners remaining. Once he got into clean air, he took off at the front. Max Verstappen comes out of the penultimate turn and will work his way back up to turn 15 for the final time. He's won this race once back in 2023, finished 2nd last year. This was not as dominant of a race as it looks for Verstappen, but he puts it all together at the end. And for the record, tying 6th time this season, Max Verstappen is victorious, his own record. Max Verstappen wins the Kyoto Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri from 10th finishes 2nd for the 5th time in a row. And Carlos Sainz returns to the podium, his first at Williams, their 2nd this season. And Yuki Tsunoda's podium drought continues, but matches his career best result of 4th place. But Max Verstappen ties his own 2023 record of 6 wins for the most in a single season in 17 races. So Max Verstappen is back on the top step again, his 3rd win in 5 races, and as mentioned, tying his record of 6 wins in a season. Oscar Piastri from 10th on the grid somehow climbs up to another 2nd place finish for the 5th time in a row. And it's Carlos Sainz who's back on the podium in SF1. His last podium with Ferrari was at Spa last year, around 13, but today was another smooth operation from Sainz driving back near the front. Yuki Tsunoda still the only active driver from the inaugural 2022 season without a podium, but still managed a 4th from a first pole. Kimi Antonelli takes P5 with Charles Leclerc behind. Fernando Alonso in P7, and Gabriel Bortoleto finishes in 8th, and that finally gets him on the board in SF1, his first points of his career. George Russell and Lando Norris came together and fall to 9th and 10th. Lewis Hamilton just missed out on points with his damage with Liam Lawson, who falls to 11th from 4th. In the standings, Max Verstappen widens the gap between himself and the McLarens, but most notably, Oscar Piastri passes Lando Norris for P2, and now the man who was once the title favorite has now dropped behind his teammate. Both drivers are still alive, Piastri 18 points back, Norris 25. That's a second place and a race win respectively. Sainz and Tsunoda both gaining a place in the top 10, Alonso dropping to 11th, and Gabriel Bortoleto leapfrogs Behrman. Both took their first points with the P8, but Bortoleto with that fastest lap points gets the advantage. In the Constructors, McLaren have their first available opportunity to clinch the Constructors title at Fuji next race, needing to prevent Mercedes from outscoring them by 27 points. Red Bull have now pushed Ferrari outside of the top 3. Ferrari has just collapsed in these recent weeks from second only 2 races ago. Williams jumps the Racing Bulls for 5th, having gotten both of their drivers on the podium this season. Very impressive. That battle for 9th getting even closer with Bortoleto scoring and pulling Sauber only a point off Haas. That does it from Kyoto. Max Verstappen winning here for the second time in his career and strengthening that championship lead. The last of our 5 races in Japan takes place next time out at Fuji, so subscribe to stay tuned. We'll see you next time at round 18 on Project SF1.